Assalamu alaikum. Time to get started. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. الله كبير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. الله كبير. Here we are. Fully indebted to God for giving us this opportunity, and it is a pleasure for us and an honor to have this 10 or 15 or 20 minutes making contact with our Creator. So this is very important for us. And so those of you who log on from different time zones, you are doing extra work here, and so this is something that God has designed for you to have this occasion and commemorate Him and glorify Him and praise Him. So it's a huge honor. And so when the time comes, you do your own prayers, and so God will accept it from you graciously. And so we have to be grateful to Him and appreciate His mercy and constant kindness and care and love that He has for us. So again, as I always say, gratefulness and appreciativeness is a God-like quality, and we have to follow His path and make sure that we are always in a situation that we are grateful to Him for everything that He's given us. And so we have to cherish those moments that we thank Him and for everything that He's providing for us. So it's not something that should be taken for granted. These are by God's design and providence, and so we are the recipient of this huge honor that God has given us of His blessings and His provisions and everything that we have at our disposal here in this world. So what I wanted to discuss with you is that we should look at the history of mankind, and the history of mankind is full of ups and downs, and the downs, we are creating the downs, and God is telling us in the Quran very clearly in chapter 30, verse 30, that He says that monotheism is okay, very well. Okay. Okay. Verse 30 of chapter 30, going back to interruption. But anyway, at that time, God is telling us in the Quran, in that verse, God is telling us that monotheism is something which is our natural instinct. So the instinct that we have, our natural instinct that God has put into us, into our system, is monotheism. And so we fight that. We fight that all the time. And we invent things as though we can do better. And God is sending prophets. These are scripture-bearing messengers. And He sends messengers. And He sends advocates. And they are there, and they advocate, and some people listen to them, some people don't listen to them. Messenger comes, they want proof, they want this, that, the others. They do not want to listen to the fact that worshiping God alone is the only way out. Okay? So when that comes in, with the phrase La ilaha illallah comes in, everybody starts reacting negatively. And that has been the system that we have been inventing from the very beginning. So every time somebody basically comes and advocates the fact, and there are books to that notion, that we have to worship God alone, which is the first commandment, and so people start reacting negatively, and they try to torpedo the entire thing. Okay, so in the Quran, God says that the messengers have been accused of being crazy and all kinds of stuff, liars and all kinds of things. And these people are a group of people who are not gaining anything as far as this worldly life is concerned. This is not their goal. Okay, this is not their way that making living. Okay, they're not doing anything to enrich themselves, but they are a group of people who are inspired by God to go ahead and deliver the message. And so it's a dangerous thing when somebody is rejecting the message and rejecting the messenger who brought that message. Okay, that person is actually disobeying God. Okay, so God has sent an emissary and says, look, you go tell these people this. Okay, to worship me alone, and that's the only way that you can survive. And then all of a sudden they react negatively. Okay, and sometimes they react in a hostile manner. It's very, very common that has happened throughout history, and God describes these things. Okay, and we just read it, how they threw the believers into the fire and all kinds of things just because they were saying God alone. Okay, so so it's throughout the Quran. So if you, I was reading something in the Quran yesterday, and I noticed this, that for the first time now. So I want to go to chapter 33, verse 33. Okay. Okay, let's see what happened here. Okay, very good. Okay. So God is telling us about the believers. And God says He is the one, okay, that He's the one who supports you. And so do His angels, in order to take you out of the darkness into the light. And He's the all-merciful towards the faithful. Okay. And God said, the next verse is that their greetings on that day, on the day they meet Him, this is the day of judgment, is peace. And He has promised them a generous recompense. This is the believers. And then God is addressing the prophet. He said, oh, you prophet, indeed we have sent you as a witness, a deliverer of good news, as well as a warner. And the one who invites you to God by His authority and a radiating lamp. Okay. So that was his mission. His mission was to deliver this message, and this message is this Quran that we're just reading and enjoying it. Okay? And then God is saying furthermore that, and give good news to the faithful, for indeed they have deserved a great bounty from God. And now, next verse is, and do not obey the unfaithful and the hypocrites. Endure their torments and put your trust in God, and God suffices as an advocate. Okay? So the word which is used is agahum, and agahum in people who know just not Arabic, people who know either Urdu, I think, and Farsi, they know what the word aziyat means. Aziyat means you just torment somebody. Okay, and so. And somebody who's doing aziyat is muzi. That means he's the one who implements torment. Okay, so that's the word which is used. So I'm saying this because I want to furthermore that we go down here and we learn about this. But we started this whole thing with that the word that says supports you, and so this is angels. These are the believers, and God promises that He supports the believers, and so do His angels. Okay. Then God says here, He says that, "Oh, you faithful, when you marry faithful women, then divorce them before you consummate the marriage. They do not owe any specific interest. You shall therefore provide for them and let them go amicably." So this is again about the rights of women, how you're supposed to treat women. Okay? They're not just object of your pleasures. They are human beings, and they're supposed to be treated with respect. Okay? So then God says here, He says that, it's a long verse here. "Oh, you prophet, indeed we have made lawful for you wives as long as you pay them their due wages." Okay? This is very important. Okay, when I started advocating this, that you have to pay your wife's wages, a lot of people laughed, a lot of people made fun. Even some women, they said, "Oh, well, this sounds really bad, because what are we, some kind of maid or something?" Well, anyway, so this is what God says. You should give them their wages, as well as those who truly belong to you from what God has provided for you, as well as the daughters of your father's brothers and daughters of your father's sisters and the daughters of your mother's brothers and daughters of your mother's sisters from amongst those who immigrated with you. They have to be believers. That's what God is saying. Okay. The immigrants were believers. With you, and faithful women who offers herself to the prophet, if the prophet wishes to marry her. This is only for the prophet and not for the faithful. Okay. We indeed know what we decreed as a duty upon them regarding their spouses and those who have truly desired, theirs. This is in order for you not to commit any error, and God is all forgiving, all merciful. Okay. Then God says, you may shun any one of them that you wish, and may pay attention to the one that you wish. And there is no blame on you if you get closer to the one that you had ignored. It is therefore better for them that they control their desires and do not become saddened, and become happy with what you give them to to each one. I'm sorry, to give to each one of them. And God knows what is in your hearts, and God is all-knowing, clement. It says, it is not lawful for you, women, outside these categories, and do not change your wife just because you admire someone else's looks. Be content with what truly belongs to you, and God is ever watchful over all things. Okay, so so this is God's commandment. Okay, these are God's commandments. As I said, He wants people to treat women as human beings, and that's what exactly He does. He says, look, you cannot do this. This is not a new model that you want to choose because you don't like the old model. Okay, that's not who these people are. These are human beings, and they have feelings and everything that goes along with that. And so you have to treat them as such. Then God says, "O you faithful, do not enter the prophets' homes unless you invited to have a meal therein without forcing an invitation. And when you are invited, then enter. Once you finish your meal, then you shall disperse and do not seek to stay for a hadith." That's exactly what it says, okay? Hadith. Indeed, you were disturbing the prophet, and he was too shy to tell you. But God does not shy away from the truth. And when you ask the females for provision, you shall ask them from behind a barrier. This is purer for your hearts as well as their hearts. And it is not good for you to torment the messenger of God, and do not marry his wives after him ever. Indeed, this is the utmost importance in the sight of God. Okay? These are a group of people, a group of men, okay, who obviously had other intentions about prophets' wives. And I'm being very clear here. Okay? This goes back to thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Okay? And then God says, look, this is what I'm going to decree now. So here you go. You cannot marry his wife after his death. Period. If you were waiting for him to die so you can marry his wife, no, sir, you can't do that. Goes back again to thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Okay? That's why he says this way, that there is no hanky-panky inside your head about his wives. If you want something from them, ask from behind the wall. Don't barge in there. Okay? If you declare anything, you keep it secret, then indeed God has full knowledge of all things. Okay, I was just talking about this. Covet. Covet means that you don't know it, it's inside your head. Somebody doesn't know what's going on inside your head. Only God knows that. And that's what God says. Look, you thought so, you thought this way, this is your punishment. You cannot marry his wives. Okay? There's no blame on them in front of their fathers, their sons, their brothers, sons of their brothers, sons of their sisters, their women, and those who truly belong to them, and they shall fear God. Indeed, God witnesses all things. Okay? These are the people who have no other intentions. Okay? For his wives. Okay, now I want to come in here. Now it says, God says, he says, surely God and his angels support the prophet, just like God and his angels support the believers. 13 verses earlier that we started today. O you faithful, you shall support him and offer peace, a total peace offering. Okay? That's what God is saying. Now he goes in here and tells us. Okay? Again, the same root word is used here. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُؤْذُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Okay? Surely those who torment God and his messenger, God has cursed them in this world as well as in the hereafter, and has prepared for them a most humiliating suffering. I've said this so many times. Rejecting God's messenger is not a party, is not a picnic. Okay? Calling Mary a whore is not a picnic, is not a joke. Okay? Calling Jesus a bastard is not a joke. That's what's going to happen. That's what God says. Okay? Surely those who torment God and his messenger, God has cursed them in this world as well as in the hereafter. Okay? God's curse is going to be upon you if you do those things. If you reject God's messengers, if you insult them, okay, as though you're insulting God, that's what God says here. You say you torment God and his messenger. God is being tormented. The same word has been used. Okay, as yet. So stop doing that. And then God says, not only in this world as well as in the hereafter. So somebody is going to do this over and over and over again and make a habit out of this. Okay? There is no peace. There is no contentment. There is no fulfillment. It's going to go on. The humiliation is going to go on. Okay? The curse is going to be with them. They're not going to succeed. Okay? This is not the way to do it. But as I said, the system has been designed that way from the very beginning, that you insult the messenger that brings the message. Okay? You try to kill the messenger for the message that he's bringing. What is such a big deal about this? God says in chapter 7, this is a heavy message. It's not light, it's a heavy message. That's why he calls it heavy message, because people don't like it. What did these people gain? Okay. Look at it. I mean, you go throughout the history. Okay. Somehow everybody knows Moses. Everybody knows Noah. Okay. Everybody for sure knows Jesus and Muhammad. Okay. Muhammad is the most popular male name in the world. Okay. Who made it like that? Do you think that by insulting him or Jesus or this guy or that other guy, you're going to succeed? That's what God says. God says he's cursed. The curse is going to be upon you. Okay. But now I'll go back to the previous verse. Okay. The previous verse has been taken that you should make some noise when Muhammad's name is mentioned. Okay. Called salawat. Okay. And if you ask them to translate that, they say, pray. God and his angels pray to the prophet. Well, we go to 43. Rashad used to say this all the time. Okay? 43. Okay? هو الذي يصلي عليكم وملائكته. He is the one who prays to you, and so do his angels. Is that what it is? Is that your understanding of the word? Why do you translate it differently or understand differently in 43 than you understand in the other one? And this is amazing. I mean, when are we going to learn? When are we going to read the Quran and learn what God is telling us? Okay? So here we go again, as I said. Okay, I read all of these things, and all of these are priceless advice that God is giving us. And in these priceless advice, if you disobey any of these things and make fun of it, okay, somehow this is funny. Somehow paying your wives their due recompense or their due wages, okay, it's funny. And here the word which is used says, let me see here, yeah. Yep. The word which is used called ujur. Ujur is the plural of the word ajr. Ajr in Arabic means wage, literally. It doesn't mean dowry. It means wage. It's liquid wage. It's liquid asset. Okay. In the Old Testament, God says, you shall pay those people who work for you their due wages at sunset because they are in need. You cannot withhold wages. You cannot play games that I don't like your job or the one that you did for me and I'm not going to pay you. Okay? These are games that people play. Pay the people their due wages. As I said this, I wrote an article this a long time ago. Okay? That your wives, those are the people who do things for you that nobody else will do. Okay? God says that if you have a nursing mother, you have to pay their due wages. Why are you paying the nursing mother due wages, but not your wife who's doing the nursing? When are we going to learn? I go back to this. When are we going to learn? When are we going to act in a way that is godly? I tell you, okay, people have to wake up and start obeying God's commandments. As I said, there is no success. Okay, making fun of all of these things and going about your business every day, making this your habit, calling messengers and prophets names and all kinds of things, is not going to be a way of success. Okay? I'm going to stop here and we'll finish this.